my name is Debbie Zing, and I'm an artist from Singapore, based in London. And this is the work, Glass Mirror, which I've made in collaboration with Tantra. Most of my past projects have been under this sort of banner of this sort of project called the Singapore Psychogeographical Society, which I sort of facilitate as an artist, as a visual artist. And I guess I've been really interested in archives and documentation, and a lot of this comes in the form of fragments and sort of kind of fragments and archives of stories, whether real or imaginary, or also physical fragments like rocks. I think the idea for Glass Mirror came from when I was taking a lot of pictures of Bukit Brown and also visiting other places in Singapore. And Bukit Brown is this Chinese cemetery where they were going to, it's the largest Chinese cemetery outside of China apparently. And it has a lot of old graves. It's kind of a nature sanctuary as well. When I realized they were also going to build a highway through part of this thing. About maybe 5% of the graves would be affected, like a script just to build a highway for in the future. And I was taking a lot of images of Bukit Brown. It was all kind of green and almost like a texture. And also knowing that this kind of idea of greenery is a very big thing in Singapore, being a very green city is such a important thing. And yet, in other places, they're really big on building parks, and they spend a lot of money kind of doing national parks, what kind of projects with parks. But in the end, the kind of real parks are also kind of neglected. So it doesn't mean that that there can't be kind of progress in that sense. But of course, this progress is coming at a kind of funny expense of something, and then the kind of story of, like, say, being able to go and see a grave of someone who was like a forefather of Singapore won't exist in that way anymore. I'm interested in fragments because there is no beginning and there is no end to a fragment, and so it's kind of a place to start from to write another story. I think that a lot of memory is kind of it's not actually as straightforward as you don't actually know if a memory is made up sometimes as well. Whether in the future you actually, when you're looking back at something and your version of the story completely changed. It's a bit like when you write something, it actually becomes the version of reality for you. But then later, when you read an old piece of writing, it becomes clear that it is only what you thought at one point of time.
My background is actually not art. My background is architecture. I come from Indonesia, and I've been living here for the past 8 years or so. Currently, I'm doing a master's on smart cities and urban analytics. But I'm interested in kind of working with Debbie on this because there's a very strong urban component to it. There's very strong ideas and kind of exploring this collision between development and what happens when development and the idea of progress meets the existing condition within a context of some sort. Projects that I've done in the past, mainly based on architecture. So I guess I encounter a lot in the work that I do in the real world, kind of doing buildings and also master planning very big developments. And always when you try to do something, especially in the context where there are already buildings, there are already people living in the area, you always face resistance because you almost, in order to introduce something new, you almost have to always take away another thing. And that's always the conversation that we have to have, especially in the UK, because the planning system is such that the people who live in this area have a lot of say in what you insert into the area. So it's not like you could just say, okay, I'm going to do this, and that happens. So there is that conflict in that I find at work. I've always been interested in collaboration. I guess also in architecture, you always find that you have to work with people from other backgrounds anyway. So it's not so difficult in the sense that you have to know how to speak their language, you have to know how to kind of put ideas across, and also to be able to listen to them and their ideas and how they want to make this. I think what's really nice about this collaboration is we both come from very different backgrounds, but there's some things that we share. So kind of combining all the strength together, you could make something that is quite different as if compared to if we were to work on our own and doing our own things. So, and yeah, like so many things in the world, like the interesting things are actually to do with, especially when you're dealing with a problem, is when people from different backgrounds start to try and address different problems that maybe they're not very familiar with, and kind of coming up with interesting solutions, because you just never know what they're going to come up with, because there's no kind of I guess a set idea of how they could do this problem, because they've never encountered this problem before. So that's what's interesting about collaboration, I think.
Hi, my name is Debbie Ding, and I'm the artist for the work Glass Mirror, which I made in collaboration with Tantra, and the work is at the exhibition Whole Infinity in the Palm of Your Hand, which is at the Embassy Tea Gallery.
It's open from Tuesday, the 7th of October, to Sunday, the 12th of October. And on Saturday, both myself and Debbie will have a conversation to discuss our work. So please come.